Good morning, students. You are welcome to this class, GS 101. Topic is literary devices, and your lecturer is Dr. Ngozi Ulogu. Literary devices is an aspect of literature that is studied under GS 101 too. Here we are going to talk about the tools of a creative writer. Those tools the creative writer uses to enhance or embellish his work. I remember that when we talk about creative writing, we're talking about novels, drama, poetry, and we said that these writers make use of these literary devices, and the literary devices are very important in the sense that they help the work, help both the reader and also the writer, that is the author, to assess the work for better understanding. Literary devices help to make the work readable, enjoyable, interesting. That is the sense of enhancement or embellishment. So, by way of importance, you see it here. They beautify the work of literature. They give deeper meanings to literary works. They make reading enjoyable. They turn boring or flavorless writings into rich, engaging prose, and so on and so forth. And literary devices is broadly divided into literary elements and literary techniques. When we talk about literary elements, these are inherent piece or tools in a text. They are compulsory aspects of a text. These things are basic in any literary or creative writing. For example, the language. Any writer uses language to write. Any text can be written in English or in any of the languages, Igbo, Swahili, French, or whatever. So it makes it one of the basic tools or aspects of writing. We also have plot. Every write-up has a storyline, and when we talk about plots can be divided into, it has a sequence, has a sequence of the arrangement of the series of incidents. It starts with the beginning, gets to a conflict. A conflict is the problem that the text is trying to address. Then you talk about rising action, talk about climax, then have falling action, resolution, or denouement. And this is just like an arc. You see a half moon, an arc, starting from the beginning, getting to the crescendo or what's called climax, and then falling down again into resolution or denouement. And then after that, also have mood, that every text that we have leaves the reader with some kind of feeling. Is it pity? Is it joy? Is it anxious or something? So that's the mood. As you can see in one of these, the poem here, written by Mario Angelo, which reads, "Still I rise." Just a small piece. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I will rise. So when we look at these lines, we see initially hopelessness, violence, and all, but there is hope at the end of the line, which say, but still, like air, I will rise. So that's the kind of mood that it has left the reader with. And then setting talks about the time and space or location of any text or incidents. Those things that happen, they have time and space. We also have say that some texts may have multiple settings and all that. They have the theme, or what is usually called subject matter. The theme is the prevalent, prominent issues or messages, ideas prominent in the text. And we have points of view. Every writer, every creative work is narrated from an angle of the narrator, person that tells the story. in which case we have first person point of view, second person point of view, third person omniscient point of view. Then we have narrator, just like those narrating the point of view we talked about. And have a conflict. We said that conflict is the central struggle that motivates the characters to and leads to climax of the action and all that. The conflicts can be implicit or explicit. That is, it can easily be seen there that this is the issue of contention. It may be implied after reading. You say, okay, this is what this text is all about. Then you have characters. Of course, every text have characters. Those major, minor characters talk about protagonists and the antagonist. And then with this now, we've looked at some of the elements that we said that they are compulsory in every text. Now we now look at literary techniques. These techniques are styles of the writer's choice of words. Some people make use of proverbs, figures of speech, figurative languages, to create a niche for themselves, that is this person's writing style, and all that. They're all talking about language. So first of all, we talk about simile. We all know the figures of speech. Some of them, for example, simile, when we try to compare two things that are distinct. And then we have the example from one of Shakespeare's sonnets. My love is like a fever. Simile usually works with as or like. And then we have metaphor, which is a direct comparison. All the world is a stage. Ordinary, somebody can say all the world is like a stage, in which case is simile, but metaphor does not use like. That's why I have all the world is a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have onomatopoeia, visual technique relevant to sound. It works with the sound. For example, you say the door banged open. Bang already gives us the sound of the door. They have the word booze, boozing of the bee and all that. They have personification. When we gives life or human quality to an idea object, you see the flowers are dancing beside the lake, giving flower the quality of dance like a human being. They have imagery. Imagery is a figurative language that creates visual representation of actions or objects, and they enrich the presentation of a subject, often by reference to several or all of the five senses. For example, just like we try to visualize, to see those images of the writing, the lines, especially in poems. For example, when we are trying to visualize the image of a dancing flower. So you can see maybe a dancing flower is that kind of image. You can see an image of a dark room that is gloomy, a room that is dark, the image of darkness, which maybe we are there in a room and suddenly the light goes off. We can feel it, we can visualize it. Now we have hyperbole, which is a deliberate exaggeration of action and ideas for the sake of emphasis. Someone can say, describing somebody who is sick or who has lost some weight, instead of saying she has lost some weight, you can say she's as skinny as a toothpick. So you can imagine. It also gives us a visual impression. They have alliteration, talking about repetition of sounds and lines of poetry or narrative. These repetitions can come in two forms. You can repeat consonant letters or sounds, in which case it is called consonance. The way we repeat vowel sounds or letters, it is called assonance. You can see examples there. And then we also have allegory. It's a kind of narrative that represents something else entirely. It's like a historical event or significant ideology. A good example of allegory is George Orwell's Animal Farm. Somebody that has read the Animal Farm will know that the novel, the actions presented by the animals in that novel represent the overthrow of the communist revolution of Russia. There's a political text talking about how the animals take over the affairs, their own affairs, thinking that they can do better for themselves than the human beings. Then talk about irony. Irony is also intended to show opposite to their literal meaning. For example, the bread is soft as a stone. So nice of you to break my new pen or PSP or whatever. Somebody has broken your thing, instead of getting angry openly, you try to cover up. So they will also have antithesis. Antithesis places two contrasting and polarized sentiments next to each other in order to accent both. For example, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. They have euphemism. Euphemism is a soft and inoffensive word or phrase that replaces a harsh, unpleasant word. Example, the normal thing now, people die often, and you see people when they want to describe the death of their dear ones, they say he passed on, he has transited, he, uh, those kind of things like that. Instead of just saying he died, they also have words like downsizing, ethnic cleansing, and so on. These are all euphemisms. They lessen the weight of the ugly incident by using lighter words. They will have paradox, combines two contradictory ideas in a way that even though they look illogical, but they still make sense. I know only one thing, and that is I know nothing. That's Socrates. And then we have oxymoron, combines two contradictory words to give them a deeper and more poetic meaning. Example, say, parting in such sweet sorrow. Yeah, talking about oxymoron talks about two contradictory words, sweet and sorrow, used together in expressing this. The whereas paradox talks about two contradicting ideas. So here we are talking of contracts, but then one is for ideas, one is for words. So you take notes. And they talk about satire. It's a style of writing that can use meant to criticize a society or human nature, and just a kind of an exposition or a story or something that's meant to point at ills, certain ills, and criticizing them. And they have allusion, direct or indirect reference to another figure that is that exists outside the story you're talking about. Allusions are made to famous subjects so that they don't need explanation. For example, when you read some of these texts, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's text, maybe half of a yellow sun, it's a lot of allusion to words that are used to refer to the civil uh, war, Nigerian civil war or Biafran war. They also talk of pun. Pun is called wordplay. This is a play on words. Normally, poets have what is called poetic license. Here, any poet can choose just sounds or words to combine, just combining words on your own to make a rhythm or whatever. So that is pun. It's comedic wordplay. They have analogy. Analogy compares one thing to something else to help explain a similarity that is implicit. Explaining a similarity that is implicit and which might not be easily seen. So, for example, it's a time flies like an arrow. The fruit flies like a banana. As an example, they have colloquialism. Colloquialism is using casual and informal speech, including slang, including informal writing, maybe local dialects in very official dialogue. Most of the Nigerian novels now, you see them in Ngozi Adichie's half of a yellow sun, purple hibiscus, Ada Abasimelo's The Forest Dem. They just use it to a kind of make their narrative to be realistic. So that is colloquialism. Then we have chiasmus. It's a literal technique that takes two parallel clauses, they kind of invert them, two ideas that are parallel and invert them. For example, ask what your country can do for you, or ask what you can do for your country. Then you see, do not live to eat, but eat to live. So you can see that you are dealing with almost the same words, but inverted. Then second locution is the writer's deliberate use of excessive words and overcomplicated sentence structures. Is they are intentional. That is, person has decided to make use of all extraneous or extravagant adjectives, descriptions just to describe one single very simple thing. People also adopt that in speech. There are some people that are so verbose, they talk, they use big adjectives in just to explain or express one thing. That is called a second locution. So with this, we have been able to look at certain some of the techniques, visual techniques that are not exhaustive here, so that by your own this thing, by in your own time, if you look at the study questions, you see that you have opportunity to talk about, learn some others on your own. You see amplification, anagram, anthropomorphism, epigram, foreshadowing, flashback, motif, portmanteau, symbolism, tone. These are some of them that you are expected to find out on your own. Then you look at suggested readings. The main text is your GS 101 textbook, expected to read from chapter 1 to the end. Then you also add up your internet sources, use your phone, Google some of them, use your laptop, go online, get more materials for better explanation or examples, and you are good to go. So this the what we have here. Thank you so much for listening.